But see, now I wouldn't do that, but there's a video online. I wish I had the YouTube link to pop up of me eating a live cockroach, right?
Oh,
like that stuff is like not, I don't care.
How big? Like a really big one? Okay, like medium. Okay.
Is that medium?
All right.
That seems like a pretty sizable cockroach.
I imagine you as a very small man.
What's that? Yeah.
He said he imagines you as a small man, so he can't tell how tall you are.
I'm teasing. Yeah, no, that's fucking disgusting. I would rather jump out a plane than eat a roach.
I hosted a show called Naked After Dark, which was the after show for Naked and Afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And when we sat down with the network, they were like, how you want to make this?
I've watched that show, by the way. That's so funny to know that's you. Like, yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
And so when I asked the net, they were like, how do you want to make this different? And I was like, well, how about whatever the contestants ate, I'll eat, but I'll eat it live on the show. And they were like, are you sure you want to do that? And so the Roach show, I had 3 options of things to eat. And before the show, they made me pick, right? And so I could either pick, the guy brought like this giant blue, and it was like a magical blue, like a Harry Potter blue, almost like the color of the, like a caterpillar, like this long.
The way they're like iridescent.
Yeah, and thick, right? And so I go, oh, I might eat that. He goes, okay. He said, but just know it's going to explode in your mouth. I said, what? And he said, you're going to bite it and it's going to shoot to the back of your throat. We all know what we're all thinking.
You're going to throw up.
Right?
Come.
Yep, exactly. With the obviously the caterpillar was taking those dick pills.
Yeah.
And so, but it shoots to the back of your throat. And he was like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a big load.
And I was like, okay. Yeah. So the next was maggots. And maggots I was out on.
Yeah.
Now I ate them baked, but I wouldn't eat them live because maggots come out of dead things. And so for me, I'm like, eesh. And the third one was cockroach.
Yeah.
And he said to me, he said, it's going to be the cleanest thing you'll ever eat. And I was like, what? And he said, farm raised, they only get organic food. I go, yeah, but they're in a cage pissing and shitting all over each other. He goes, that's the bad part. I'm like, you fucking
if you can get past that.
Yeah.
So we clean them up.
Right, but
toothbrush.
Put it right in my mouth. You know what he told me afterwards? He goes, I forgot to tell you something. I go, what? He goes, I forgot to tell you to chew it up good. I said, why? He said, well, because the instinct for people is to bite it once and swallow it, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, when you cut a cockroach in half, it lives, right? I said, yeah. And he goes,
oh my God.
So what can happen is that top half, when you swallow it, can still be alive and it can grab onto the side of your throat and stay there.
Ooh. I'm gonna eat a hot dog.
Yeah, dude, I was like, you didn't want to give me a heads up on that like chew your food real well.
I did. I was imagining how I would do it, and I imagined making sure I crushed the head completely.
That's what I did,
and like held the legs together because I'm a little afraid those legs might be barbed, like the way that grasshoppers' legs can have those little barbs in a row on them. That's awful, man. I whenever I'd watch Survivor or Fear Factor rather, and they would eat that awful shit. That was always my thought. Like, I wouldn't mind them sicking the dogs on me. I've had that done. It's fun when you're in a bite suit and they sick attack dogs on you. It hurts a little, but it's fun. And getting drugged behind horses. I remember that might be the first episode of Fear Factor. But whenever they had to eat those goddamn cave-dwelling spiders, do you remember those things? They look like little land crabs.
Yeah,
their front legs do this thing where they're like this, and I was like, no, I can't, because they would eat them like quickly, and they would be bleeding from the lips because those things are so like horny and barbed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Season 1 of Fear Factor, I rewatched some of that with my wife within the last year because, I just remembered it being entertaining. And it's like wild how disorganized that show is, where it's just like a 28-year-old Joe Rogan. Yeah. And he's just screaming at some accountant from Cincinnati, like, you can do it, Justin. You can do it, Justin. And it's just like, you can tell Joe's like, ugh, like getting grossed out by it as well. Sometimes dry heaving. Every time I watched that show as a kid,
Joe was a great coach.
I remember like the dragging behind the horses looked like a cakewalk compared to all of the eating stuff. Like every time they had to like draw lots for something, and it's like you have to jump off of a quick build building we threw up to look like an old saloon into this net, and it's so scary, and you have to eat 3 of your co-hosts' fingernails, and it's like do I get to pick? It's like no,
Yeah,
all
dude,
just those. No.
Get me the finger. You know what else I did? I put a leech on my butthole.
Is that a treatment for
For a
something?
hemorrhoid?
Was it a hemorrhoid treatment? Did he like
So
suck it out?
I also did a show for Facebook called Josh Wolf's Wonderful World of Weird.
Feels great.
And we went to a leech who she, medicinally, she was talked about how leeches are great, right? And she said, if you have a hemorrhoid, this leech will suck it out. And I was like, well, put it on there. It's gonna be funny, right? And she was like, okay.
You just happened to have a hemorrhoid at that moment.
Oh, just carry on. Tell your story.
It's funny. First of all, I had to wear a diaper home because it keeps bleeding. But she asked me, she goes, you want to keep the leech? I'm like, for what? She was like, well, I can't use it again. I'm like, do you think I'm gonna? Do you think I'm just gonna put this leech on my asshole every night before I go to sleep?
Sure.
Tomorrow's
blood blister.
Let him get the leech over there.
You're never too rich for a free leech.
So, did it help your hemorrhoid?
I will tell you this, because I put one on my asshole, but I also put one over my liver, and I had been having some issues as far as my liver and cleanliness. And look, man, I'd also been taking some natural stuff. So was it the leech? Was it the stuff I was taking? But I got better.
Yeah,
so
definitely wasn't the leech.
Explain to me you said you were having some issues with your liver and cleanliness, and I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
So I had some toxins built up in my liver, and I needed to flush them out.
What was the first sign of toxins in the liver?
Ooh, there's a bunch, but discoloration of my skin, and my eyeballs. I was a little yellow.
Oh no, jaundice.
And
that's serious.
Yeah, the leech. Look, man, like I said, I'm up for whatever. If you think it helps, let's give it a try. You think leech on my butthole helps? Put it on there. Let's see what happens.
The most unbelievable part about that is that you found a magic leech that fixes cirrhosis of the liver or something, and you said, no, I don't want to keep it.
Well,
you be charging $30,000 a fucking pop for that thing.
I kept the butthole leech just because I felt like we knew each other so well. You know what I mean? Like you already were sucking on my butthole for 30 minutes, so I should probably take you home.
Yeah, you keep the liver leech. You can have the butthole leech. I'd have never. I wouldn't have agreed to the butthole leech from the get go, if I'm being honest. But I guess if I were really worried about my liver and medical science had been exhausted, I would go to still wouldn't go to leeches.
Your liver's right in the middle, right? Like under the sternum, like right in the middle.
The side over here, right?
Yeah, on the side you can.
Which side? Right side? Left side?
Right side.
Right side.
Okay. So, but here's the thing, Kyle. Like, I'm not anti doctors either. I'm open to, if I have an ailment and you think you have something that can fix it, I may not do it, but I'm open to listening. I will listen to all that shit because I will tell you this, as I've gotten older, I've leaned way more Eastern medicine than I have Western. Like, look, dude, if I get cancer, I know I'm getting chemo and all that stuff, but I really believe that Western medicine has too many Band-Aids and not enough cures. Right. I want to know why it's happening. Like, I don't want you to just fix it for the next 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's a fair thing where it's like, oh, you're having a lot of pain in your knees. Well, I don't want to tell you to lose 280 pounds. Here's Vicodin.
That's right. That's right.
So now you can walk on your knee and destroy it even more, pulverize it like you're Fred Flintstone, just destroying it at the quarry. And you won't know until you need even more Vicodin. And then you need more Vicodin.